Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette. I'm an intuitive tarot reader of over 30 years experience, and today I'm here to do a reading for the collective for the Gemini full moon lunar eclipse that has just taken place earlier today. The moon is actually outside my window as I speak right now. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely full. I wish you could see it, but of course by the time I get round to showing you the moon, it will no longer be full because you'll be watching it probably after when I've uploaded it. It'll probably be tomorrow now. So I was going to say, you know, if you get the chance to go out and have a look at it, then do so. But again, it will be too late probably by the time that I get to upload the actual video. But it is absolutely stunningly beautiful at this time. So I just thought I would mention it. I wasn't expecting it. I pulled my curtain back earlier to find one of my decks of cards, and it was just there, bright and staring at me. So I just thought that was very appropriate for this time. So anybody who's interested in their astrology will find a link in the description box down below for you to go and check out the astrology that's happening at this time as well. I usually do leave all the blurb until the end of the reading, so I'm just going to get right into it, and I'm going to start with the cards that are most important at this time as we are in the Gemini full moon energy. We have the Gemini full moon, all about the answers you need are coming. So if you're questioning yourself about things at this time, just know that the answers will come to you. The answers will not approach you. The answers will show themselves to you, but it may not be immediately as well, because the moon in Gemini is mutable. It's also saying be flexible. Nothing is set in stone yet. There's still room for change. Don't absolutely be definite about anything at this time, because at this time there is no definite. Give yourself space in order to be able to change your mind as and when you need to. And of course it is a full moon eclipse, so conclusions are within reach. Things are going to come to a conclusion. And then we have the nodes as well. And the nodes are playing an important part at this time, because without the moon's nodes, we wouldn't actually have an eclipse at all. So the north node, which is the node that is eclipsing our Earth at this time, is saying step out of your comfort zone. The north node is all about where we steer our ships on a collective level, karmically, what we're heading towards, what we're looking to achieve. And at the moment it is in Gemini, which is why we have this Gemini lunar eclipse, to do with, of course, communication and data, information. And we also have the south node in the opposite sign of Sagittarius, where the sun is at this time. And the south node is all about what we need to release and let go of. I have actually done a astrology reading which I've put up. It is already out there, so if you haven't watched my astrology reading, I recommend watching it, because I go through a lot more depth into the astrology that's happening at this time. This is more of a tarot reading based around the astrology if I think that it's coming through. So don't let your past hold you back, and this is the energy that we need to let go of. A Sagittarius energy, which is all about going beyond where we've been so far. It's about freedom, it's about truth. It's about knowledge and wisdom, seeking knowledge and wisdom. It's the higher kind of knowledge and understanding, whereas the Gemini energy is more on a mundane, logical approach to things. But we need to also be able to let go of this energy, because it can also become very dogmatic in our beliefs, our opinions. So that's why we need to let go of that energy at this time. And the nodes will be there for another over a year yet until the nodes. They stay in a sign for 18 months, and they moved in May, so roughly, yeah, they'll be leaving, I think, next November. So the card that I'm going to start out with here is the Wheel of Life. Quite an intense card. If you look at the pictures on it, the Wheel of Life kind of depicts the constant rebirth of human life, or all sentient life, on this dimension, on this plane of being. And the words for this Wheel of Life card are: as long as our actions are dominated by anger, ignorance and pride, we are lost in a world of illusions, spinning in an endless cycle from which we will not escape. A powerful mirror for spiritual aspirants, this wheel is bound by the sharp-taloned limbs of Mara, draped in fire and blood-filled skull caps. Every situation, however horrific, offers the opportunity for liberating insight into our true condition. Go beyond this conceptual, logical realm of deluded existence that is the material world. Look deeply into your essential being. The whole universe is being played out inside you. You are infinite. And the words that go along with it are the veil of illusion, is what it's saying here. It's all a veil of illusion. And it's kind of what I feel is playing out at this time as well. And I actually, I think the Scorpio reading that I did last month was seeing through the illusion. That's how I put it. If you haven't watched that reading, it is on the playlist as well. All my readings are under a playlist if you're interested. But it also talks about the logical mind here as well, which is very Gemini energy. And a kind of constant, we have been through this wheel, like really lately. We've kind of been trapped. And we've kind of seen it very, very clearly and very closely, how we are, how trapped we are, and how easily we are caught up in this suffering and attachment to it as well. It has been a difficult year, of course. But like it says, every situation, how horrific, offers the opportunity for liberating insight into our true condition. So maybe that's one of the reasons that we've had to endure what we've had to endure for this last year, because there are some major breakthroughs happening that would not have happened prior to this energy that we've just all had to live through. So I'm going to start the actual reading with the first tarot card, the Ace of Pentacles, in the very centre, the very heart of the reading, upright, saying opportunity, new opportunity, opportunity for new growth. There's lots of grapes around here. This is Poseidon, who's actually represented as Neptune, the energy of Neptune, which is illusion, as well. Neptune kind of covers the energy of illusion, and Neptune has just stood still in the sky, interestingly enough, and is also in a T-square with the nodes at this time. Again, if you're interested, there is more information about that in my astrological reading that I have just done. So for me, the Ace of Pentacles is also about our well-being. What it is with this pentacle, what we do with it in order to make it grow, in order to make it work for us, in order to make it to make our life satisfactory, to make our lives comfortable, for us to be able to enjoy. It's very pentacles, it's very earthy energy, very sensual energy, very pleasurable energy. It's the physical realm, the physical domain, what we do within our physical domain that makes us feel good, is what this card is saying to me today. But also our well-being as well, because it's like the two go hand in hand in many ways. Our well-being is very much connected with how we feel. And he is in this water here as well. You can see he's this fish, and he is in the water, and the water is emotions, of course. The water is feeling. So on some level it is also saying, you know, the physical world and the feeling world are very closely linked. And they support each other as well. Astrologically, the water and earth are complementary energies. They support each other. Which is why in astrology, if you have a trine, if you have an angle between an earth and a water sign, a sextile in particular, is going to be very beneficial. They support each other, they help each other, they understand each other, they're very compatible energies. So it's kind of saying our feelings and our physical realm affect us on a deeper level. But this is about growing something new collectively. We are at that point where we're going to kind of start again, something new, rebuilding. But it is crossed over by the King of Cups here. And this card today for me is coming through with healing energy, as a healing card. The King of Cups is very, again, the water at the bottom down here, the emotions, the feelings. This card represents the signs of the water. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces energy is represented here. It even has a little crab down here as well. And also this this instrument, this lyre as well, is said to be a soothing, healing instrument. It was said to be able to, the harmonics from this was said to be able to heal on a very deep level. It could heal all wounds, because this is also the wounded aspect. The King of Cups often has a deep wound within himself that he doesn't know how to heal. He is very similar to the energy of Chiron, the wounded healer, as well. And often the King of Cups will be somebody who finds it easier to help other people, to want to help other people, to heal other people. And it's a natural condition, shall we say, a natural talent, a natural part of this energy. even if they don't realize that they're doing it, they have this natural ability about them. They are born healers in many ways, and they are drawn to the healing professions as well. King of Cups energy. So I think here it's saying that there is this healing that needs to take place. This is our challenge at this time. And Chiron, the asteroid Chiron, is actually trining the sun and sextiling the moon during this lunar eclipse as well. So it is playing a big role in this particular eclipse energy. There is a healing that is being activated within us at this time. And it has got a lot to do with everything that we have been through over these last months. But it also, I believe, goes further back than that as well. And I do also talk about that in my astrology read as well, which I will put a link to the blog in the comments section for anybody who's interested in checking that out. Also, the King of Cups holds this cup in his hand as well, and it's kind of saying to me that in order to be able to offer this cup, we have to first of all be healed ourselves. We have to look after ourselves as well, not to just look after everybody else around us, because then we ourselves become depleted. We ourselves aren't healed. So we need to also be able to drink from this cup of healing, if you like, this medicine. And the King of Cups, again, is very good at giving out advice. He's very good at knowing what everybody else should do in order to help themselves, but he's not particularly good at taking that advice for himself or listening to his own advice. So that seems to be the collective challenge at this time as well, is to kind of realize how important it is for us to look after our own needs first, in order to be able to look after other people's needs, particularly if we're going to be starting something new here as well. So the Five of Cups is what's in our head and what's we're aware of at this time. And I'm seeing this as an energy of wanting to know more and not being given, like feeling as though we are being, it is that kind of energy of being isolated, of somebody running out on us, of trusting something that's not actually able to kind of come up with the goods, so to speak. Because there's also one cup here that is left standing, which I'm kind of seeing it as this one cup here. And it's kind of saying, you know, that this character here, which is actually Psyche in this card, is kind of chasing after Eros in order to kind of heal herself, or in order to, how can you put it? In order to okay, so she wants to have a relationship with this character here. She wants to know this person here, but this person really represents a side of her own nature which she as of yet hasn't looked at, hasn't acknowledged, hasn't gone into that side of her own character, because she's looking to this energy here in order to be able to solve her problems, in order to be able to justify who she is or make her feel good about herself. But when she tries to find out more about this energy here, this character, this individual, he disappears. And so for me, it's coming through as this sense of like having to take responsibility for ourselves, for our actions, and not be reliant on others for our answers, our neediness. Because this energy leads into her actually having to go down into the depths of her own emotions in order to understand herself better. And I feel that this is also this energy here as well, because this is our challenge. Our challenge is to bring out this energy, this healing quality within ourselves in order to make ourselves feel better. To do it in a way that's going to be good for our well-being, our healing. So that's what's in our head at this time. And again, it feels like, as I was saying, this kind of this single cup that's left, it does feel as though this cup here is like the medicine somehow, that it holds the medicine that we need to kind of take for ourselves, listen to ourselves, listen to our own inner voice here, and what we're trying to, what it's trying to tell us. Because the energy that's moving away, what we have been working with, is the Ace of Wands. So it's another new energy. It's a fire energy this time. It's very passionate, it's very driven, it's very dynamic. And in this card, he's holding the world in his hand here as well. So it's kind of saying, you know, that it's interesting because I'm seeing this in the background as well, almost like this shadow kind of coming up to kind of consume everything. And like this light of us kind of holding this light here, this kind of reigniting something, this passion, this drive. This new idea, this new creative plan. And it's interesting because of course we've got the two aces together. So it is like we are in this energy of the new, the beginning. Something new is starting here. Whether we're aware of this collectively or not, it's like this is the path that is opening up in front of us. Is this new opportunity, because they're always, aces are always opportunities, they're always energies that come in as a new energy, but they need channeled, they need to go into something in order for them to actually become more, because if they don't get channeled into a direction, then they will just like disappear. That energy will just fizzle out or dissipate or just snuff itself out in a way. But that's what I'm seeing this here as, this collective kind of torch of this new world that is being born. rising out of something. It's kind of, it feels like something dark and sinister in the background, rising up from it, rising out of it. Like all of this energy here is kind of the past energy. Because this, of course, is Zeus. And Zeus represents Jupiter in Greek mythology. Very fiery. Ruler of Sagittarius, in fact, which is where the sun is at this time as well. But this is also the energy, interestingly, that we're having to let go of. Maybe that's what this is that I'm seeing, is this kind of, this is the past. That's what all the history, that's how it's coming through for me, the history of where we've been and what we've done, and the pain that we've been through, all the suffering that we've been through, not just this year either, but kind of like collectively as a mass consciousness for many years. Many years. Even like, I keep going back to this Saturn-Pluto conjunction that happened at the beginning of the year, but that connection in itself had not happened since the 1500s, and all the history that's taken place within the 1500s up to now, kind of Capricorn and Pluto kind of wiping it all clear. It's like cleaning the slate. But there was more than just those two planets. So if you take the other planets that were there as well and look for when they were last all sat together in Capricorn, you have to go back to the 1200s and all of the history that was involved there as well, which has got a lot to do with the Holy Wars, of course, as well. So there's a lot of connections of things that are being kind of cleared out, energy that is being, and I feel that that's what's happening here. And I kind of, interestingly, again for me, spoke about this in the sense of we've got this Mars and Aries trining energy, which is this, for me, this rekindling, this kind of like setting things ablaze again, because Mars has been retrograde for so long now. But now that he's woken up, and now he's kind of connecting with the sun, which is another fire energy in Sagittarius, which is another fire sign. It's like it's bringing it all back into life. And with the South Node in Sagittarius as well, it's kind of, this is what we're having to leave behind. We're having to kind of let go of that past history, is how it feels. But I kind of talked about the fire of Pluto being kind of the wood for the fire, in the sense that it's the earth sign at this time as well. So this is the wood that is kind of being set fire to, because Mars is also squaring Pluto at this time, but because he's also trining the sun, there's a lot of fire energy being directed. So that's kind of how it's coming through for me there. And then we have three energies in our subconscious. So these two cards came out together, and then I started shuffling the cards again and discovered that this card had flipped over as well, and I'd missed it. So I kind of put it in between these two. And so we have the Ten of Cups as our first energy here in the subconscious. The Ten of Cups being that perfect kind of relationship, reunion. It's what we're all seeking in many, many ways, is that perfect alchemical marriage. But it also represents, and I feel that this is what it's representing in this collective reading is the relationship with ourselves, to ourselves, the masculine and the feminine, the balancing of the two energies here. And it also, of course, is the completion of this storyline here as well. Because after this energy happens, Psyche, as I was saying, then has to go on her own emotional journey into the depths of who she is to discover herself. And it's only then that she can heal that part of herself which can be seen as the masculine within the feminine and the feminine within the masculine. Because we are brought up, or have been brought up, in a world for a long, long time that has kind of separated those energies very strongly within us. So we've been brought up to believe if we're feminine, if we're a female, then there's a certain way that we have to be. And we're kind of steered down that kind of path to be a certain kind of feminine way. And it's the same, has been the same for the man and the masculine energy as well for a very long time. And so for me, this is a kind of balancing up of those energies, because we also have the Nine of Pentacles here as well, which is about our self-confidence and our self-worth. And if we're not in a balanced situation with our kind of a relationship with ourselves, then we're not in a particularly good place of self-worth and self-confidence. But both these cards have come out upright. So it's saying that on a deeper level, we are kind of growing. It feels like growing up. We are growing up is how it's coming across, because this is a 10, so this is an ending here. And this is a 9, so this is saying we've almost completed this sense of being, of achievement. Because this card is also about looking for, not just looking forward and thinking, oh, how much further do I have to go before I get to this completion, but looking back and seeing how far we've come. How much history, how much we've achieved to get to where we are. The journey that it's taken here. On a collective scale, again, not just individually, but on a collective scale, how far have we come as the human race to where we are now? But interestingly, in between, we have the card of Temperance. And the card of Temperance, for me, she is the goddess of the rainbow. She is Irish. She is the bridge. The iris flowers are down here, and she is the bridge between the masculine and feminine energies. She has a silver and a gold cup in her hand, which represents again the masculine and the feminine energies. But when she's upright, when she's in reverse, it's kind of saying that there's something imbalanced here, that we are yet to kind of get to this point. This is in our subconscious. So this is kind of what's pushing us in a way. This is where we're, for me, it's kind of coming through as north node energy. Of where we're going. The twin is also what I'm seeing here. It's like the twin of ourself here, which is very Gemini. the mirror image of ourself. Although it's a man and a male and a female, it's like when you meet that person who you connect with on every level, it can feel as though you have met that mirror image of yourself, because you understand each other on such a deep level. But that's because you understand yourself. You're understanding yourself on such a deep level in the first place, that you can then reflect that back at each other. But when Temperance is in reverse, it's saying that there is this imbalance, that something here needs to be brought into balance, kept flowing. There needs to be more of an understanding of communication within relationships, and how you have to keep things flowing in order for things to move and grow as well. Also the bridge. The rainbow is like the bridge between the physical world, between our world and the spiritual world as well, because it also represents all of the chakra colours. And also, of course, a rainbow is a refraction of the light as well. So again, it's that sense of like, you know, we are those rainbow beings. We are that light that is refracted from the bigger source of light as well. And it's bringing it back together, bringing all that light back together in order to make this beautiful rainbow. And a rainbow, of course, also represents hope. Hope that things are going to improve, get better. And that we'll find, it's like, you know, the rainbow comes after the storm, after the rain, after the rain and the the storm clouds. And the sun, of course, comes out, and you get this beautiful rainbow. So there's also this sense of kind of weathering storms as well, maybe, within this card. But in order to get to the rainbow, we have to go through the storm, we have to go through the suffering and the pain and the complications of life. So the energy that we are working with, or what's coming towards us at this time as well, is this, for me, this dark energy here. It's like we can't ignore it, we can't pretend it's not there. It's in reverse, so it feels as though it's kind of coming to a point of release here. That something like the storm clouds, like I was saying here, the storm clouds are gathered. It's very dark. It's very kind of it's grim. It's grim, for want of a better word. Yeah, grim. It is the card of nightmares. And I think that this card today is representing the energy of Saturn as it leaves Capricorn, which it's on its way of doing. But while that happens, it's like things are going to get worse. This really is the card of the dark night of the soul. And collectively, that's where we are at this time, in this energy. Which I'm I'm seeing as this energy down here, this shadow energy down here. It's kind of this sense of just greyness, just dark, just things seem to be, it's that just before the breaking point. I always say it's darkest just before the dawn. It's that kind of energy. It's like that really despairing, giving up hope. And maybe that's also what this is about here as well, of not being able to see any hope here, not being able to see the potential good or the potential what's the word I'm looking for the potential outcome of what's actually happening at this time. All we're seeing when we look outward or even inward, but I feel that this is much more a kind of, well, I feel as though it's an expression of our own minds when we look outward, what we see, but then outward what we see is also an expression of what we are experiencing in our own heads as well. So it's kind of saying that all this fear-based energy here, which is what these are, these furies, as they were known in the Greek mythology. The furies were released to drive somebody insane, to tip them over the edge, to put them into a place of complete despair and insanity, really, for want of a better word. That was their job. That's what they were, the energy of the furies. Energetically, that's what they were said to do, because the Greeks had gods or things for everything, literally everything. Every energy that was experienced by somebody had some reason behind it, had some deity or a face, a name was given to everything. So these were the furies, and I feel as though this is that kind of energy of all this fear at this time as well. It's also even looking to me very much like needles, shall we say, because I don't want to overstretch that point too much, but it is looking like that to me. And this kind of darkness of kind of getting sucked into this place of sheer fear and darkness and not being able to see the light, not seeing any way out of this. And that's the energy that we're moving into. But like I was saying, we have Saturn in the very, very last degrees of his home sign. And Saturn, whenever he's leaving his own sign, which he did earlier in the year when he moved into Aquarius, which he will be doing again, but this time he won't be unaccompanied. That was when we really experienced a lot of the crackdowns, and the police force were brought in, the military were brought in. We saw riots around the world, and Saturn was basically coming down like a ton of bricks, because that's what Saturn does. Saturn just says no, constricts, stops everything, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. So from now until the end, sorry, not the end, yeah, probably the end of December, now until mid-December at least, Saturn is going to be very strongly playing that role of prison guard, if you like to call it that, kind of like yeah, it's kind of coming through to me as a prison guard, as somebody who's kind of just going to stop any freedom that he possibly can from taking place. So in the energy of hopes and fears, we have the Emperor, again Zeus. We had him earlier in this Ace of Wands card, but here he is in his major arcana role as the god himself, top dog. And it's basically saying that our hopes and fears are, we also see that he's got the world in his hand here, and he's got the world in his hand here. He's also got lightning bolts there as well. And he has this eagle on his shoulder, which is quite important as well, because the eagle is a bird that can fly above and see the bigger picture, which is why Zeus, Jupiter, is all about seeing the bigger picture. And that's really what our hopes and fears, and also I feel as though it's about us wanting to come out on top as well of this, of being on top of it, of bringing out this emperor side of ourselves, of our own character, our own nature, of being our own boss. And knowing that we have the right to do that as well. The emperor is his own boss. The emperor doesn't answer to anybody else. He sits on his throne. He's fully aware of his power. And that's where I feel the world is at this time as well, with our hopes and our fears. It is about us realising, coming to the conclusion that we are our own boss, that we have the right to make up our own minds, to have our own decision making, to say no to things we don't agree to. We have the right to our bodies as well. The Emperor is a very physical energy as well, very masculine energy, a very driven energy. It's the doing energy, the action energy. But also it is an energy where you don't argue, so it's also a fear as well. It's a fear that those who already have this authority, those who already have taken this power, will be able to keep hold of it. Jupiter, of course, is also leaving Capricorn at the 21st. Well, actually, it's before the 21st. He will meet up with Saturn, the energy of Saturn, on the 21st of December, but the pair of them actually leave just before the 21st, I do believe. But it is round about that time of the year that these two energies, Saturn and Jupiter, are going to meet up together in the sign of Aquarius, where things are going to shift and change. And the outcome that we have here with the Three of Pentacles is about teamwork, is about working together. And I feel that this is what is going to end up happening. You've probably heard at this time the the word reset. It's being kind of put out there as something that is going to be done on a grand scale. But when Saturn and Jupiter move into Aquarius, it is very much about community. Aquarius is community. Aquarius is about working together, teamwork, building things together, creating the new together, building the new world together. Making something long lasting, but also having this kind of compassionate, healing energy within it as well. So that it doesn't become just this kind of masculine dominated, driven energy. Because of course Saturn and Jupiter have been in this very masculine dominated energy of Capricorn as well, which they are both leaving, but they have both been there for quite some time. Although, like I say, Saturn did leave it briefly earlier on in the year. So I'm just going to pull some cards to have some, okay, what have we got? I'll take these two. The Shaman of Discs and the Son of Cups. Again, earth and water energy coming out together over the Ace of Pentacles and the King of Cups. Earth, water. Yeah, so the Son of Cups is the Page of Cups, which is about the wounded, like the inner child energy. So this is about healing the inner child energy. And the Shaman of Discs is the King. And interestingly, the eagle's there as well, as I was talking about earlier. The eagle with Zeus as well. The eagle being able to rise above and see the bigger picture of what is actually taking place. Also, this red road as well, I feel, is quite important as well. And Native American Indians always talk about the red road as being the road of truth, of following your own path, being true to yourself, who you are, it's not about not being true to other people, but it's about, again, this kind of putting yourself first, your medicine, or our medicine, if you like, but not in a selfish way. It's not about selfish, it's about compassion to ourselves, but at the same time also being aware of the needs of others. So over the top of the Five of Cups, we have the Three of Wands, which for me is the Ancestors card. I see this very much as calling in the ancestors. Which is interesting as well, because it's like saying to me, what it's saying is that contained within all of us is all of this. So when we're looking outward and trying to find it outwardly in other people, what we need to do is look within and find it within ourselves in order to be able to bring it forward. This is all our history, if you like, contained within us. There is more to us than just us. There is all our ancestors. There is all this history of what our ancestors have lived through, experienced emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And also, of course, it can also represent our own previous lifetimes as well. If you believe in reincarnation, it can also represent those situations that we ourselves have lived through, that we bring through into the present lifetime. And again, we're kind of trying to make sense of ourselves through other people, when really we should be doing it through ourselves. Again, this is this energy that I'm feeling here as well. This kind of inner child that needs to be looked after, cared for, compassion, understanding, healing, in order to find that inner truth, walk that path, find our health, our wealth, our well-being for ourselves. On a deeper level of it not just being this mundane level. And also to remember, of course, as well, that as much as we have ancestors, we also have those that are yet to follow after us as well. So whatever we do is going to affect those that are yet to come. And we have the Daughter of Cups over the top of the Ace of Wands. The Daughter of Cups being the Knight of Cups. And in reverse, it's kind of saying to me that things are very confusing when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to relating in general. We have real difficulties because we are more than just this one person. We are our history. When you have a connection with somebody, you're connecting not only with that person, but you're connecting with all their previous relationships and all the experiences that they've had through those relationships, as well as connecting with their history as well, like their history as in their family history, their ancestors. So I feel it's saying that, you know, we are kind of having these difficulties within our, because the the Knight of Cups is very much the kind of romantic, searching for the perfect love, really. The Knight of Cups wants the perfect love. He wants to feel as though he has connected with that one person who brings this kind of alive in him, or somebody who he can build this energetically with. But again, there's also this sense of letting go of all of this stuff as well, that all of this, again, is past history. And the way that our relationships have been when it comes to love as well. Maybe we need to take another look at that. What we expect from relationships. The kind of ideas that go along with having a relationship with somebody. The sense of you meet somebody, you fall in love, you get engaged, you get a house together, you live together. It's like, you know, all of that is very kind of well, because the Knight's in reverse here, it's also saying, you know, that it's very disappointing. There's a lot of disappointment there, a lot of kind of having been there, done that, tried it, and it didn't work kind of feeling. Why doesn't this work? Why do these relationships keep screwing up? Why do we keep making the same mistakes over and over again? What is it about us that can't get it right? When all we're trying to do is find somebody who we can kind of have that deep, meaningful connection of sharing everything about ourselves with this person. But the Ace of Wands energy is very kind of fiery and very, well, it's very Aries energy for me. I see it very much as Aries energy, which is very, again, that sense of our self-identity, who we are, what do we bring to something, who are we? Do we even know? Do we even know who we are when we go looking for that perfect relationship outside of ourselves rather than looking within ourselves to find it? And we have over the top of the Ten of Cups, Nine of Pentacles, and the Temperance card, the Priestess of Swords. Priestess of Swords being the Queen of Swords. And it's saying to me that there is this kind of need for clarity and understanding and insight. Again, within ourselves, within our relationships, within our... I'm not quite sure how I can hold all these up. Ten of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Temperance card with this Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords can be very harsh. She can be very cutting. She can be very honest, brutally honest. But also she has the ability to see through things, to really get to the core of something without like all of the outside BS in a way that kind of surrounds something. It's kind of, she's very single minded about things, or she can be very single-minded about things. She also is very perceptive as well. So it's saying that there is this need, also very logical. Being swords, it's the air energy, it's Gemini, which of course is where we are at with this lunar eclipse at this moment in time as well. And we also do have this, and I do think it is a nighttime scene, because it looks like this sun, or sorry, this moon is there in the background, because that looks to me like an owl, which is a night bird. And so it does look like this, it could even represent the kind of lunar eclipse energy in a way of it being in Gemini. Gemini being an air sign, swords representing air. Also Libra and Aquarius, but it feels more like the energy of this moon, this lunar eclipse. Of something, because it's an eclipse as well, the eclipse kind of represents an energy that is, I kind of see it as something that's being kind of cut during that time and rebooted. It's also about Gemini covers things like media, communication, education, the mind, basically, the mundane, the logical, the thinking process, categorizes, wants information, needs to be able to have all of this before it makes an informed decision. And the owl, of course, being a night bird as well, it's very, it's able to see in the dark. It's able to see things very clearly. And so personally, I feel as though it's got a lot to do with our media, our communication, the way that we are, the way that we communicate, what we let into our world when it comes to what we communicate, or what's communicated to us. How the media has been able to kind of control for a long time now. And it looks very snowy to me as well. It looks very cold. There's like a coldness there. There's also something going on here with these kind of dots all over. It's odd because I'm kind of seeing it as something of where this kind of, it's like changing into this owl, is how I'm seeing it, that it's one and the same. It's like this totem animal. Of course, owl also represents wisdom. Ancient wisdom. Ancient wisdom, understanding ourselves again. Okay. So over the top of the Nine of Swords, and I want to just very briefly say that what's coming into my head with this is the saying that was over the top of the Temple of Delphi. I have no idea where this is coming from or why, but basically it said know thyself. And that was it. Know thyself, which is kind of a very important message, really. And I think it's a message that has been kind of discarded. Because if anything, we've been taught not to know ourselves. That we're not important, we're not relevant, we're not kind of, you know, we are just this single being. So over the top of this Nine of Swords, we have the Ace of Wands again, which is really interesting. So we've got it as our past and we've got it moving into our future as well. In reverse, it's kind of saying to me, because I see this as a birth, I see this as a rebirth, I see this as a new bursting forth energy of something that's going to be very, very powerful. Something that's going to completely change this energy here. If you look at the two of them, they're completely, completely different. This has gone from dark, grim to bright and fire and drive and dynamic energy, and just kind of very I'm also seeing it as very much kind of lower chakra energy as well. Survival, working with the lower chakra energies, the solar plexus, the root chakra, the sacral chakra. But it's like this birth, and of course this is all the area where all of this sexual drive comes from as well, this kind of sexual energy which brings new life. Without the sexual energy there is no new life, there is no new being. But it's in reverse, so it's kind of saying to me that this is a long, slow, hard process. This could even be the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction. Which is just the beginning of something, really. It's just the beginning. It's up to us to work with that energy. It's up to us to change it. It's up to us to actually take this energy and, like I was saying, channel it. We have to channel it. We have to make something happen from this energy. The energy will be available, but what we do with it will be down to us. But it does feel like a breakthrough. That's how it's coming through for me. It's like a breakthrough. It's like a completely different energy moving out. And it's like brand new. It's like, was this? Now it's this. That's how it's coming through for me. So let's see what the Emperor would like to say to us in our hopes and our fears. Ah, yet another ace. Again in reverse. Well, I'm seeing this as transformation. It is in reverse. And it is in our hopes and our fears. So it's not an actual definite energy, but it is this clarity, this transformation, this change. And again, because the lunar eclipse is taking place in the air sign at this time, it's kind of, that's how I kind of see it. It's like this switching off of the energy, and it kind of gets rebooted. It only lasted today, I think it was 4.5 minutes. But during those 4.5 minutes, it's like the energy's cut. in order for something new to be born, to come out of it. And that's how I'm seeing this as well. So there is a lot of new energy, because there's the Ace of Pentacles. In fact, I think we've got all of the... No, we don't have the Ace of Cups is the one that's missing. But we have this one twice as well, which is for me the kind of also the fire energy with Aries and the sun, of course. Which I believe lasts up until Christmas Day, but I'm not certain about that. So, coming back to this energy now, where are they? Okay. Hopes and fears with the Emperor. Okay, so it feels as though, because with the Emperor, of us wanting to come out on top and be our own boss, it's almost like this fear as well of our minds being manipulated or used against us, or things not working in the way that we want them to, not being clear. There's a sword here as well. You can see he's holding this hand, he's holding this sword, and it's kind of going up and it's piercing right through this person here who's sitting there cross-legged, in this kind of sense of sorry about the glare from those. I've moved my light up a bit because it was annoying me with my glasses, so I thought that I would try and get rid of that. Now it's kind of annoying on the cards. Yeah, so this sword is kind of piercing all the way up, and it is kind of running right the way up the centre of her body, where the chakra system kind of runs through as well. But in doing so, it's also kind of releasing all of this energy in this kind of diamond. Kind of double diamond, even triple diamond possibly. Again, it's like splintered, like chakra energy kind of coming out. It's like it's all kind of exploding. Possibly also this energy here as well. Maybe it's also a fear of not having control, because the swords being the mind, it wants to be able to control. It is in reverse. But the butterfly would also represent transformation here as well, which I think is something that is happening on a mental level for us at this time. We're not as easily, we're more discerning. Maybe that's also what's coming through here, is this kind of need to be more discerning. It's an interesting energy. Because there's also energy escaping from her hands here as well, which would imply for me kind of healing energy as well. Ace of Swords, new energy. It can also be about truth. The sword, the clarity, as I was talking about earlier, the sword that cuts through things, cuts through the BS. Shift of energy. Of course, it could also represent the actual kind of, because air is also Aquarius energy. Although it's the water bearer, it is actually an air sign ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is also about Kundalini energy as well, so it could also be about a shift of consciousness, shift of conscious awareness. That we're hoping that we're going to be able to see things, or things are going to become clearer with this shift of an awareness. Because this sword is just kind of, interestingly, it's just this hand just kind of floating, almost like the hand of God, if you like, or the hand of the universe, or the source energy, almost like it's an awakening of something. That's how it's coming through for me, this awakening, like this very kind of sudden, sharp awakening and transformation at the same time. But because it's in our hope and fear, basically there's also this fear, because it's the unknown. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what to expect. So let's see why we have the Three of Pentacles here, which again for me is coming through as this community orientated working together in order to achieve greater results. Teamwork, team building. We have the Seven of Cups in reverse. And the Seven of Cups can be to do with confusion. That's interesting, because the seventh cup is on her head, and the seventh cup is kind of feeding into all these 6 cups down here. So I'm seeing this more as a sense of fairness and balance, and again it's this kind of sense of this 3 here, there's 3 on either side here as well, which is making up this 6. It's kind of the one feeding the many. But it could also be seen as the many. When it's in reverse, it's like the many feeding the one. And maybe that's the energy that we have been in. Maybe that's the energy that we're going to move into more. I am confused about this. The Seven of Cups, it is the card, it is a confusing energy, but I'm confused as to whether it's the one feeding the many is how it has been, or the many feeding the one. Which way up? Okay, so when it's in reverse, bear with me. When it's in reverse, it's saying to me that this is the many feeding the one, because it's flowing this way. You can see it flowing in the opposite direction. So when it's upright, it's the one that feeds the many. And there is a connection with this Three of Pentacles. Again, it's coming through for me as kind of this teamwork or community energy. This outpouring of feeling and emotion. Okay. It's kind of coming through for me as this being the many and this being the kind of energy of the community in the middle. All feeding into this cup. Is how it's coming through, and there's a dove of peace on that side of that cup as well. So that's kind of how it's seeming to me. That's how it's like it's going to be a period of time, and when this does happen, when this shift occurs, which is coming, it is going to be more about working on more of a community base locally together with each other, and not being as insular either as we have been, because Aquarius energy is about the individual, but the individual connected to everything else. That's how this is coming through. Okay, so it's the individual that is connected to everything else as well. And that each individual connects in with everybody else and forms this. It's like recognizing that everybody is individual and unique, and that that's okay. But at the same time, in order to achieve something, you have to work together as a team with other people in order to build. But it's coming through as this kind of community energy, helping each other out. So I'm going to put another card on there because it's not fully clear to me, even though the time is getting on. So, quickly. Thank you. What do we have? We have the Five of Discs. Again, it's in reverse. And the Five of Discs, here you can see that she's kneading bread. So again, it's kind of coming through as this community energy, because bread is something that you make to share. It's a sharing. Again, it's food, it's community. There's something very strongly about this energy. And it may be that it's in reverse because we're not going to find it easy to shift into this kind of idea. It's not like it's just going to happen overnight, even though the energy itself is going to shift very rapidly. It's not just going to be something that we just wake up and go, oh, right, okay, now let's just do this. It's something that we're going to have to get used to and grow into. But that's kind of how it's coming through for me. And of course, it's not that far away either. So there was two cards that came out for me earlier that I want to show you here. And these are the channeled messages, reflections of Julie Soskin. And the first is, begin now to see yourselves as creatures of light, for that is your destiny and what you will become. Which kind of ties in with this energy down here as well, as I was talking about us being this. And also I'm just kind of recognizing as well, when I was talking about the chakra energy here as well, this piercing of this chakra is also all of this light being energy here, this rainbow, how it rainbow represents the chakra energies, moving into our chakra energies, perhaps our light energies, light bodies, rainbow bodies. And the second card is, this world, your world, is light. It began in light, its essence is light, and at this time light will emerge triumphant. Which is a very positive, they're both very positive messages, and I'm just quickly going to pull a light the keepers of the light. So yeah, there's a lot of, this is about a lot of light, which is interesting. Lunar, full moon, lunar eclipse energy being light, and the moon tonight was incredibly bright and full of the light of the sun. So let's see, of course that is also the masculine and the feminine energy as well. So let's see what the light oracle keepers would like to say to us at this time. Do you have a message for us? Is there anything that we need to know? And we get the Divine Director, which I do believe we got last time. I think we got that when I did my Pluto reading. I've lost the box, there we go. I know that the Divine Director, he actually came out in reverse as well, so it's a strong message. It's a message that is important to us at this time. Intervention and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you are being guided. Happiness is your purpose. And he is to do with the astral planes, or to do with the off-world, shall we say, teachers. Okay, it says that he is a facet of the heart of the Creator. According to New Thought teaching, his energy is merged directly with God's divine plan, God's source energy, creative energy, however you prefer to call it, so that we can access it and understand on a deeper level what will support our true function, which is to be happy. The Divine Director works directly with angels, and in particular guardian angels, so that they can fulfill their role of supporting the earth and all of her people. Right now, your angels are reminding you that your divine purpose on earth is to remember love and do what makes you happy. Divine intervention is taking place at this time. What is occurring in your life is providing a real learning curve for your soul. You are becoming aware of a sense of purpose in your life. It gives you a sense of joy. I think it's supposed to say, if it gives you a sense of joy, it's something that brings you pleasure rather than something you have to work for. Know that your career can complement your purpose, but not define it. But the path you are on at this time is right, and the universe is encouraging you to move forwards. And that's kind of this path here, I feel, as well. Because this can also be to do with career choices, finances, where we put our energy. And this is the path that I was talking about, the red path, the path of walking our talk and our truth here. So, the Divine Director. That's twice the Divine Director's come out. And I do feel as though he's quite an Aquarian energy, personally. The kind of energy of things that are yet to be revealed. As we move into the Aquarian energy that's coming in, we will possibly find out a lot more about this kind of energy for ourselves as well. And all the things that have been kept hidden from us will come to light. So that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Say thank you very much for watching and for listening to me. And please, if you have liked my reading, if you have learnt anything from my reading, please could you like it up for me, because it does really, really make a difference to me. It helps to get it out into the bigger stage of the YouTube world, and other people can pick it up. It gets put on, recommended as a video to watch on other people's channels, which really makes a huge difference as well. Other people can then see it, come back, look at my channel, subscribe if they're interested, watch my videos, which all helps me to build my channel, which is really what I'm trying to do at this time as well. And thank you very much to those of you who have liked my videos and who have subscribed to my channel. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so yet, please could you do so. Also, like I said, all the playlists are there. I do all the new moon and full moon videos, which are probably slightly more controversial than my other videos. But I do think that my messages are all a little bit controversial. I'm not your average kind of tarot reader in that sense. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, then please subscribe. And also share my videos if you think there's going to be of help to anybody out there. If you think the message is going to help anybody that you know, please share it with them. And please take really good care of yourselves at this time. Enjoy this lunar eclipse energy that we are in right now. The energy itself will last for about 6 months. It's a long-lasting energy. It's not an energy that just happens and then it dissipates like an ordinary full or new moon energy. And of course we have next month, or depending on when you're listening to this, in December on the 14th we do have the solar eclipse coming up as well. So that's going to be a real biggie in Sagittarius, where the moon and the sun will be joining up together. The last eclipse and new moon of the year, of course. So we'll be heading into the big conjunction on the 21st, 7 days after the solar eclipse. So big, big, big. Big, can't stress enough how big these energy changes are going to be. So in the meantime, really do try to take good care of yourselves, because I think that's what this message is about. It's about really kind of looking for your own inner healing at this time as well. And just be aware that Saturn is going to make life a lot harder over these coming weeks as well, for everybody concerned, particularly for those I feel who kind of are already in that fear-based, stressed out energy. So if you know anybody who's kind of living in that energy and is kind of trapped in that kind of thought pattern, if you like, then please try and help them as much as you can as well. And with that being said, I'm going to say thank you very much again, and hopefully I will see you again next time.